I am Dr. E. Nageswara Rao, retired professor of English, Usmania University, Hyderabad. Today, we are discussing a lesson for the students enrolled in first year MA English program, and it is based on paper 4, Aspects of Language. This lesson is Unit 2, Changes in Spelling and Sounds in English. So before we discuss the actual changes in sounds and spelling in English, we should learn something about the nature of changes and the nature of language. Language is a living organism like human beings, plants, animals, and all these have a process of growth, change and decay. So language also grows, changes and decays. Change is therefore a part of the process of language evolution. Why does a language change? A language changes because large numbers of people use it. Millions of people, thousands of people speak the same language, and no two persons may be able to say the same thing in the same way, or even one person on two different occasions will not be able to pronounce the same word or sound in the exactly same way. The second reason for change in language is that people spread over a large area speak the same language. Take for instance English. It is spoken in England, in America, in Canada, in Australia and in other parts of the world. Since the people are scattered on such a vast area, it is not possible for all these people to adopt one uniform way of speaking, one standard or uniform method of speaking. The third reason is people use the language in different conditions. For these reasons, language changes. Not only English, but every language which is being used by millions of people over vast areas is subject to changes. These changes are external and internal. The external reasons are also known as social factors. Whenever a new thing is invented, or a new process is invented, or something new is discovered, we need a word to describe that. So that is one reason why new words are coined. For instance, radio or car or rocket. These are new inventions, and whenever these new inventions came into being, new words are added. The second factor is people want to be new, people want to be fresh. They don't want to repeat the same old words or the same old things. So old words are dropped and new words with a new flavor are adopted. For instance, you can say this TV set costs 5,000 rupees, but that is old fashioned. People now say it comes with a price tag of 5,000. The word price tag is substituted for cost. Now when we sign an agreement, there are conditions to an agreement. In the older tradition, people used to say conditions attached. Now people say it comes with strings attached. So in this way, there is a novelty which drives people to make changes in the use of language. The third factor is avoidance of words for painful or unpleasant things. There are certain things which are clearly unhappy. Death, for instance. Nobody wants to mention the word death. Some diseases which are contagious, people are afraid of them even to mention their names. So they talk about them in a roundabout way. Death is described as breathing one's last breath or mingled with eternity and so on. Blindness is an unhappy circumstance. So a blind person would not like to be referred to as a blind man. Therefore, we say is visually impaired. Again, a deaf man would not like to be reminded of his deafness. So we say he is hard of hearing. The fourth factor is imitation of speech of socially and economically advanced people. We know that society has got its own different rungs. Some people at the lower level, some people in the middle level, some people in the higher level, and so on. Those who are at the top level, because of education, because of money, because of the circles in which they move, exert influence upon people down below. People in the lower rungs would like to be recognized as fashioned, as modern. Therefore, they adopt the speech and the vocabulary of those in the upper layers of society. So, words like okay, a generation ago that was not a very frequent one. Yeah, American expressions, come again. These are very frequently used by Americans and people who were trained in America. So, those who did not have the good fortune of visiting those countries would like to adopt these words to be counted among the up-to-date people, the modern people. Causes for changes in language, the internal causes. So far I discussed only the social factors or external factors. There are internal factors, those are factors of language. When some sounds come together, there is pressure of sounds. So, some sound may be omitted, one of the sounds may be omitted, or there may be other processes at work. Look at the word book, books, the plural is books, and a word like bag, plural is bags. You are writing the letter S to make the plural form for both the words, and yet the pronunciation is not the same. The reason is ka is a voiceless plosive, a voiceless sound, and sa is a voiceless sound. Two voiceless sounds coming in close proximity is easier to pronounce than one voiced and one voiceless sound. The same reason explains the pronunciation of bags. G is a voiced sound. So, although we write yes to make the plural of bag, it is not bags but bags. Sa and za is the voiced counterpart, and z goes very well with the previous g, which is a voiced sound. Another example, the past tense of look is looked. We write ed, the past tense suffix, but it should be pronounced as t, because the previous sound k is a voiceless plosive. On the other hand, you have lagged. G is a voiced sound. So, although you write the same suffix ed for the past tense, we pronounce it as lagged. That is one. Second reason for internal changes in language are the need for uniformity. If different people use different pronunciations, different spellings, and different grammar, comprehension becomes, communication becomes rather difficult. Therefore, there is a need for uniformity, standardization in speech and writing. Nowadays, mass media, the newspapers, radio, television, etc., help us in leveling distinctions between one speaker and another, between one region and another. The printing press, which came 500 years ago, contributed to uniformity and standardization. Uniformity and standardization of spelling, punctuation, etc. Processes of change in language. 5 processes through which a language might change. One is assimilation. Two sounds which are similar may be brought together. This is a phonetic process. A sound is made similar to another sound, another neighboring sound. I explained book, books, etc. Some words are rejected. Some expressions are rejected because outworn, they are cliches, they don't carry the same meaning as before, so such words are dropped. The third process is invention or new coinages. Whenever something new, for instance, the word compute gave us computer, from computer to computerize, computerization, and so on. Then one word which is already in the language may be adapted for a different purpose. The word anchor was there, it is used in ships for stopping a ship, but the word anchor has acquired a new meaning now. Anchor is a person who conducts a program in a TV show. The word chip, we heard of potato chips earlier, now the chip is a very important part of the computer system. The fifth process of language change is derivation. We add suffixes, prefixes to make words from an original word. For instance, again globe, globalize, globalization, etc. These are the processes through which language changes, and this applies to any language, not necessarily English. Changes occur not only in sounds and spelling, although this lesson is limited only to these two. Changes occur in grammar, syntax, meanings, usage, etc. In every division of language, changes occur, because as I said, thousands of people use it, and these thousands of people live in different parts of the world. And then English sounds, there are 44 sounds in the English language. 20 are vowel sounds and 24 are consonant sounds. Changes in English, consonants is the first topic now. The changes may be of different kinds. One is loss of consonants, the second is a modification of a consonant, the third is addition, adding something new. Let us first consider loss of consonants, and we are talking about the changes from Old English times to modern English, that is a stretch of 800 years, from the 8th century in King Alfred's time to our own time, about 8 centuries. There were two sounds in Old English which are no longer used in modern English. Old English velar fricatives, voiceless and voiced, are dropped, or they are no longer used in modern English. This sound was spelled H in Old English, in a word like leocht, L-E-O-H-T, or R-U-H, and G-H in Middle English, L-I-G-H-T-E and R-O-U-G-H. In modern English, this sound disappeared and we have light. Although you write L-I-G-H-T, G-H is not pronounced, and we have R-O-U-G-H, G-H is written but pronounced as fa, as a fricative sound. So, the velar fricatives, voiceless and voiced, are dropped in modern English. And then change of Old English consonants by the time we come to modern English. The R sound originally in English, in Old English, was a trilled sound. A trill is pronounced like this. The tip of the tongue vibrates very rapidly a number of times. That is the way the trill is produced. That was the way the R sound in Old English in the 8th century was produced. Nowadays, it is not a trill, it is only a flap. That means the tip of the tongue makes one simple contact, single simple contact with the roof of the mouth. Instead of vibrating a number of times, just one contact is made. So, the quality of the sound has changed over the years. And then the ya sound, the symbol for ya is J. In Old English was a fricative. That means the air was continuously being released without stopping. Now, it is a palatal glide. It is spelt in Old English with a G or GE or GIE. It is now written with the letter Y. In addition to loss and modification, we have a new consonant introduced in English. The voiced palato-alveolar fricative is added. It occurs in words borrowed from French language, such as treasure, measure, vision, jour, and so on. It is the voiced counterpart of palato-alveolar consonant sh. You are familiar with the sound sh as in ship, push. The voiced counterpart is zha, and zha is available in words like vision, television. That's a new sound and a new symbol introduced into English thanks to French influence. This sound was written as SC. Sha was written as SC in Old English, as in the FISC, that is the word for fish. Nowadays we write FISH, but 8 centuries ago it was written FISC. Or the word ship, today we write SHIP. Originally it was written as SCIPU. In Old English, C was used for K, as in CYN, kin. That became kin in modern English. All Old English consonants except these 5 are used in modern English. The rest of them continue. 4 consonants V, Z, Z, Ng were not pronounced, were not phonemes, they were not independent sounds in Old English. They were spelled Fa, Sa, Sa and Na respectively. There is only one symbol for both the voiceless and the voiced varieties of these fricatives in Old English. When these sounds occurred in voiced environment, then they were pronounced as V, Z, Z, Ng. These are variants, that is, they are allophones of the sounds, and their occurrence can be predicted. Some consonants were lost from Old English times to modern English times. For instance, in Old English, there were a number of words starting with H, HLINCE. That becomes in modern English LINK. H is dropped. H is dropped in another word like Nutu, HNUTU, that is NUT, nut, today. WLISPS, lisps, W is dropped in that word. Initial consonants in these words are dropped, notably H and W. So, let us summarize the changes in consonants from Old English times to our own time. 2 velar fricatives were dropped in modern English. 2 sounds are modified, and these are R and L, R and Y. 1 new consonant is added, and that is the palatal alveolar Zha. Now, let us look at the changes in vowels in English. Old English short vowels, 2 short vowels changed in Middle English. Old English, A became A in Middle English. For example, craft became craft. Old English, Y was a rounded sound. Rounded sound means the lips are round when this sound is pronounced like that. The Y sound was unrounded from Old English times to Middle English and became simply E in Middle English. Example, Old English word brick became brig in Middle English. Old English long vowels have changed quite a bit. Old English A changed to O in Middle English. For example, barn, B-A-N, barn became B-O-N in Middle English. That is modern English, bone, B-O-N-E. Another example, B-A-T in Old English, Bart, pronounced Bart, became B-O-T in Middle English. It is B-O-A-T in modern English. Old English Y was unrounded by the time we come to Middle English. It became E. For example, brid became bride. Old English A became A in Middle English. For example, slap on, S-L-A-P-A-N becomes sleep on in Middle English, which is modern sleep. Old English long vowels were shortened when followed by double consonants or combinations of consonants. So, you have in a word like great, greater and ascion, S and K, two consonants are coming after a long A, therefore, that is shortened to X, axion in Middle English. Old English short vowels in open syllables were lengthened. What is an open syllable? A syllable after which there is no consonant. Ba khan has two syllables in that word. Ba is one and khan is another. There is no consonant closing the syllable ba. Therefore, it is an open syllable. In such a situation, bakan became bakan, that is bake, and eton became eaten, modern English eat. Middle English short vowels. Two Middle English short vowels underwent important changes. Middle English a became a as in cat and thanks. What was a in Middle English became a in modern English. Middle English u was unrounded in modern English. Middle English u became the short a as in but, cut, nut. The great vowel shift. This is the very important change that took place in the 15th century in the vowel system of English. From the 15th century, the vowels, long vowels of Old English and Middle English underwent very important changes. They were pronounced with greater elevation of tongue and closing of the mouth. You know, when the vowel sound is made, it can be, the tongue can be lowered and the tongue can be raised depending upon the kind of vowel we make. When you say a, the tongue is at a low position. When we say e, the tongue is at the highest position, and sometimes the tongue is far away from the roof of the mouth when you say a. When you say e or u, the tongue is closer to the roof of the mouth. That is what we say close vowel. When the tongue is touching, almost touching the roof of the mouth, it is a closed vowel, otherwise it is an open vowel. This process is called great vowel shift. Arthur Jespersen gave the name great vowel shift. If the tongue can be raised to the next higher position, it is that is done. But when you come to e and u, the tongue cannot be raised further. Such vowels are diphthongized. They became diphthongs in Old English, in modern English. Now, thanks to this process, there was no need to indicate the length of the novel or the rounding of the lips, etc. Earlier in Old English, they used a number of diacritical marks on the top of the letter, at the bottom of the letter, and on the side of the letter to indicate the quality of the sound. Because of this great vowel shift, there is no necessity to anymore to use these diacritical marks. The letter C was used for the sound k. We already talked about it. The impact of the French scripts, that is another important fact. During the Norman conquest and after the Norman conquest, French scribes used to come and they copied the English books into English. The French people were accustomed to French spelling and they introduced the French spelling and they depended upon the Latin original spelling. In a word like debt, D-E-B-T, that B is a contribution of the French scribes, doubt, D-O-U-B-T. B is added there on the analogy of original Latin spelling. There are no silent letters in Old English, but now in modern English there are quite a few silent letters. Whenever there is a double consonant, it indicated that the previous vowel is long. If you have comments or suggestions on this presentation, please write to the Director, Directorate of Distance Education, Maulana Azad National Urdu University, Gachibowli, Hyderabad 500032.